God, I love my life. Actually, no, I don't. But there are moments of just Schadenfreude, I believe is the word, where there's certain people in the world, retards, or as I like to call them, pissheads, who they have things going good for them. They're riding high on the hog, and then one day it's just they fuck it up. One of these was recently with a guy named Erik Kripke, the douchebag who's credited with making Supernatural. Which, by the way, it really shocks me that the people who make the most cool things are some of the most dickless cowards and spineless douchebags. Just like Jerry Conway is a good example. I refuse to accept that man made two of my favorite comic book characters, the Punisher and Jason Todd. I refuse to accept that. Not only do I refuse to accept, I deny him that right to claim he made those two. If for nothing else, my own amusement. Um, and you know what the old saying goes: the louder the virtue, the really awful the crime. Well, not this time. Just a virtue signaler whose mouth wrote a check that he couldn't pay. I'm sorry. Well, yeah, his mouth wrote him a check that he couldn't do anything with. And if you don't know, back when The Boys season two came out or was near the end, this douchebag opened his mouth bitching about Mog, and he also said something to the effect of superheroes were based in fascism, which I mean, depending on how you look at how superheroes deal with things, maybe. Problem is, douchebags like him call everything and its mother fascist and its dog. And also, like the first superhero I can think of, not counting the pulps, was Superman, who was made by two Jewish people. That's right, two Jewish men, specifically. Uh, Two members of the shekel collectors, let's just say, made Superman. And yeah, so anyway, ever since then, this guy has been like every time I would hear news about this Kripke douchebag, he was always on a soapbox, kind of like James Gunn, like which made it all the more satisfying when he got me too. Like I look at these douchebags all the same. To quote Batman, "I'm not gonna kill you, but I sure as hell ain't gonna." Well, I'm not quite, but paraphrasing. "I'm not gonna kill you, but I sure as hell ain't gonna save you," or in this case, anything to help you. And the second he did that, I was like, okay, I'm so glad I didn't watch The Boys yet. And it looks like it finally caught up with him, and he's learned the same mistake that dumb bitch who works at Marvel did, who said, "You don't like my politics, then don't buy my book." Well, I guess they're not buying your damn book, lady. And Eric Kripke, you told them to find something else to watch. Well, it looks like they did. Or at the very least, they're choosing not to watch your shite because, quite honestly, The Boys sounded interesting, but the problem is, it's just more subversive crap. And I get annoyed. Like, subversion was fine when it was like with the anti-hero. The anti-hero is a subversion of the hero. Thing is, the anti-hero at the very least is interesting. And also the story has to be interesting. Most of the time, I look at these subversion things like these aren't interesting. Like like the Last Jedi, which was them pulling a Taika Waititi where they're like, "I'm going to shit all over your lore," and it backfired. I'm guessing. But although I will say this, the show is an improvement over the comic because the comic of the boys was written by Garth Ennis, and I would describe Garth Ennis the same way I would describe Alan Moore and Zack Snyder, a shitty edge lord. It's just one of these was better than the other two, and yeah, no, like he's a good Punisher writer, but other than that, I kind of look at Garth Ennis and think to myself, God, this hurts to look at. This hurts like finding out your friend has the clap. Actually, that's probably a bad example, but and now it's just like the chickens have not come home to roost. No, the chickens left the "fuck you, I quit" notice, and then they never came back. And honestly, Kripke, you deserve this. Not only do you deserve this, you deserve worse. Like seriously, how many times do you fuckers have to learn that the whole "if you don't like what I'm selling, don't buy it" thing doesn't work? It didn't work for Battlefront fucking 5, or was it 2? Yeah, remember, that's the sad part. Like all these fucking dipshits who go woke, like they all blend together because they all sound and look the same. Literally. Well, they all sound the same anyway. There's one deviation. One still looks like a woman even though they're fugly as hell. And the other one can be mistaken for men, but they're not really men, and they're not women either. These things are men on documentation only. And no, I'm not talking about trainers. Um, and the fact that he did is like, what kills me is like, this is the guy who gave us Supernatural. Supernatural, like, has two masculine douchebag brothers. Like, what in the? I, I don't even know what to say for than just fuck him. Seriously, like this guy is an idiot. He got what he deserved. I wish him the worst, kind of like Jim Carrey and Stephen King. The only difference is he's way less successful. And the fact that he did this, and he's now butthurt that there's now people aren't watching his show, and he's mad about him. Like, what do you think? Like, look, you don't bite the hand that feeds you. You don't shit in your own. You don't shit at your work, figuratively. Like, that was one of the few sayings from Longmire. You don't take a crap at your own work space. Like, yeah, you don't do that. That's a very bad idea. And so the fact that he did this has me gone like, ah, it finally came. Like, what's the saying? A winter is coming. Well, consequences are coming, and so am I. I'm kidding. Um, yeah, no, Eric Kripke, you are a fucking moron. You are a fucking moron. Like, this guy was so stupid. Like, this reminds me of a joke song Razorfist had. Like, the whole no kill rule is retarded. Like, not the cutesy retarded. No, you want your first time to be special, so you bang your girlfriend on a short bus retarded. Like, that's what Eric Kripke looks like. Right? Like, seriously, dude, what the Oh God, I love life. Don't get me wrong. I'm a pessimist and an asshole and a cynic, but there are days where I look at everything and I go, you know, as much as my life probably isn't that great, it's better than his right now because he's probably having a shitty day. And dear God, I could. Actually, no, I'm not doing the jerk off joke, but yeah, good times. So, Eric Kripke, eat a dick. No, eat multiple dicks, a multitude of dicks, a bag of multitudes of dicks, and then eat shit because you are a piece of shit. You like this guy reminds me of Alan Richardson, the guy who played Reacher in those two seasons. You had a blank check. You would have been made for life if you had just kept your fucking mouth shut. You would have had no problems. But now you had to insult Trump, the people who are voting for the walking spray tan commercial, and you also had to insult cops, which is funny because you're on a show with a guy who used to be a cop and works pretty well with cops, or at least in the first season. And the fact that you thought this would go over well and not go about as well as Chris Chan and a family reunion says you are just as out of touch as everyone else in Hollywood. Like, seriously, Hollywood is a Sodom and Gomorrah, only instead of degeneracy, it's also got out of touch asshats whose opinions not only do I not care for, I look forward to the day I hear from them nevermore. That's the video. Have a nice day, and remember, the game was right from the start.